Okay, for the second segment, it's the Salem County Freeholder candidates. We'll start with the bios, and we'll start with Mr. Cross.
Good evening, everybody. I will echo what those who said before me here. First, I want to congratulate the township candidates. As I told them in the back, there's a million other things you can be doing with your time, and you should all be applauded for putting yourself out there. My name is Dale Cross. Lifetime resident of Pennsville, 51 years old, graduated in 1981, graduate of Pennsville High School, and in 1986, on paper, graduate of Glassboro State College, when it was still Glassboro State College, with a degree in finance. I say that because my paperwork was late at the bursar's office, and my father can attest it was 2 hours late. So instead of a 1985 graduate, I became a 1986 graduate. So, moving on. Been on the Freeholder board for 6 years. For the last 2 years, I enjoyed being the Deputy Freeholder Director under Director Julie Acton. I am the liaison to public safety. I help support the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's office, and the OEM. In addition, I sit on the rail committee, and I also am the liaison to the Salem County Improvement Authority. The first 3 years that I was on the board, my first term, I was on the minority side of the aisle. The last 3 years I've enjoyed the majority side of the aisle. 30 seconds. I'm just getting used to that. I was explaining how at the community college it's a lot different. You're looking out up here and somebody's down here showing you a card. You can't see them, so thank you for doing that. My wife Kathy is here this evening. We have one child, Kyle, who is 25, a recent graduate of Wilmington University. We're a member of Queen of Apostles, where I elect her. I'm a proud member of the VFW here, and also a proud lifetime member of the FOP. I work at PSE&G, been down there for 29 years, and a proud member of IBEW, 94. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Debbie Banky. I am mother of 2, grandmother of 3. I was born and raised in LAC, and then I moved to Alloway when I got married, and a few years ago I left Alloway municipality and moved here to Pennsville. For 18 years I was a paraprofessional in the Alloway Township School District. For 9 years I was a county employee. I was the director of Department of Social Services. When I retired from the county back in May of 13, I went for Resources for Independent Living, which is a nonprofit that serves people with disabilities, and that is where I am currently employed as an independent living specialist.
Good evening. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Matter of fact, I was talking to a few people in the audience. If we got a turnout like this at the Freeholder meeting, it'd be great. We really use your help there to help direct us. But I'm Bruce Bobbitt. Grew up at Orange Point, graduated from high school in 1966. I am a U.S. Army veteran, decorated Vietnam veteran, and moved to Osborne Township, where me and my wife raised our 3 college-educated children. Been there now for 35 years. I ran for Woodstown-Posboro School Board in 1999. Got elected there, served there for 2 years. Then I got elected to Posboro Township Committee, where I served 2 terms, 2000 to 2006. I'm currently in my 12th year as a Salem County Freeholder. When I became on the Freeholder board, I was chairman of the Road and Bridge Department for 9 years. Then I served on the Health Department. I'm currently serving on the Public Service Committee, liaison to the Salem Community College, the VOTEC, and the Special School Services District. And I was also liaison to the Veterans Affairs Office. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bob Vanderslice. I think Mr. Bobbitt has a short memory, because when I first became a freeholder, the freeholder room was packed with people, and it made for a very interesting time. But I have been, I'm born and raised in Salem County. I graduated from Pennsville Memorial High School. See several of my classmates out there this evening. Married my 6th grade sweetheart. We've been married for 41 years. We have 2 adult children. And 5 weeks ago, I became a grandfather for the first time. And if you'd like to see his pictures, I will be glad to show them to you. Yes. I'm also the president of Pennsville National Bank. I graduated from Goldie Beacom Business College back in 1973, and then later went on to Liberty University and received my bachelor's degree in finance. So my 2 adult children do not live here. One of them lives in Tennessee, the other one lives in West Virginia, but I'm very, very happy to say that on November the 14th, I will be going down to move my son back here to Pennsville, so we're looking forward to that. I have been a freeholder for, this is my 3rd year. I serve on the I'm the liaison to the Health and Human Services Department. And I will tell you that flu shots have been very, very popular this year. And if you didn't get one, it's too late. Tonight was the last clinic. So I just want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for participating in the process. And we look forward to a great time next week. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Doug Painter. I live in Piles Grove Township. I've been married for 21 years. I have 3 children, my oldest in college, a senior at Woodstown High School, and a 14-year-old daughter going on 24. I've been serving for close to 10 years now on the Woodstown Piles Grove Board of Education. I'm currently the Vice President. I have chaired the Finance Committee. I currently chair that. I've served on Personnel. I've chaired negotiations and served on Policy Committee. I am part of the County Ag Development Board. I have been since earlier this year. I am very active in my Rotary Club in Woodstown. I took the lead on the 7 flagpoles that were installed at the Salem County Veterans Cemetery, and that was a cooperative effort across the entire county with every Rotary Club taking a part in that. I'm also Vice President General Manager of our family business. We have an office in Glassboro as well as in Woodstown, New Jersey. We have been in business for 31 years as a family business. I've managed a $24 million budget as the finance chair working at the school district. And look forward to tonight. And I appreciate everybody coming out, participating, and look forward to the questions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Earl Ransom. I'm a lifelong resident of Salem County. I was born and raised in Pedricktown, New Jersey. Married. I have 4 children. I have 2 older children who, by the way, moved away from Salem County. One lives in Delaware, one lives in Maryland. I have 2 younger children, one in high school and one in middle school. Pittsgrove High School and middle school in Old Miss Township. My career started off 12 years old, working on a farm in Pedricktown, picking tomatoes. And then I went through school, graduated from high school, Pittsgrove High School, went on to tech school, got a technical degree at Ryder Technical Institute in Pensacola, New Jersey. I was hired by BF Goodrich in Pedricktown. I was working with some engineers, and the engineers were making mistakes and whatnot, and I thought, well, you know, I believe I can do that job. Maybe they're not that smart. So I decided to go to school. I went to night school. I was married, had 2 children. I went to night school. It took me 9 years to get my Bachelor of Science degree in mechanical engineering, but I was able to achieve that. I learned from my father that you have to work hard. He worked for Ed Clementi, taught me a lot of things, and I am ready to work hard for Salem County. Some changes need to be made, and I think that everybody coming together, we can get it done. Thank you.
In your opinion, what would be the pros and cons of increasing the size of our correctional facility?
One that I'm very familiar with as the chair of public safety. The pros, as you look around, folks, and we look at it here in Salem County, folks are getting out of the jail business. With that being said, somebody has to get into the jail business. In addition to the shared service agreement that we currently have with Gloucester County, which is bringing in revenues in excess of $8 million a year, there's an additional $7+ million that's still out there. What this will do, and we're beginning the infancy stages of this discussion, but it is one that certainly warrants sitting down at that table and having that discussion. Just looking at a proposal that was put out there, the one that we rolled out, that you may or may not have seen, in a 25-year potential project, the net from that would be close to $182 million over that 25-year period. So in excess of $7+ million a year. So, certainly warrants discussion. Brings additional jobs, potential. Our facility was set up in a pod system. We can add on to it very easily. For that reason, they can add additional pods while the current facility stays functional. And again, continues to bring in that revenue. Additional jobs in the fact that the way that our system is set up, and it's a direct supervision facility, it doesn't take a whole lot of folks to run an additional pod. So the expense from that end is minimized. But we have to sit down, we have to give it a cost-benefit analysis, which is what we do with everything. But again, it certainly warrants having that decision. With jobs, there's potential for additional businesses coming in with it. Maybe good or bad, I'll let you decide. Lawyers will certainly follow it and open up new offices. But what we're looking at and what we're hoping for, again, revenues will give us the additional budget flexibility. With that budget flexibility will hopefully come the continued trend that we've started and we want to continue now, and that is stability of taxes, or, as we did this year, reduction of taxes. Cons? First and foremost, we've heard that we have folks walking up and down Route 45. We understand that. But we'll address that, and that'll be part of the process.
Well, if the county does go in that direction, we would have a great multiplier effect with the additional jobs, increased disposable income, which would help our communities and help the county budget. But I don't know. With my past professional experience, I'm also well aware of the medical costs involved when you house inmates. I don't know that our cost per bed per day will cover the medical cost. I'm not quite sure where the juveniles fit into this. We are currently paying to send our juveniles out of the county. Where's our juveniles in this new wave? We just really, really need to talk more about this, get more details before I can really say that I'm for it.
You ready? Okay. The pros are, as we all recognize, are the increase in revenue to the county. That would help stabilize our surplus, maybe relieve some tax burden on the residents, and the potential for jobs and the benefits that those jobs bring with more disposable income in the county to help the small businesses. With that being said, the cons, the biggest concern is the debt service. The current Republican administration plans to do away with the Salem County Improvement Authority. And if that plan is brought into place, the county would have to assume the debt from the Salem County Improvement Authority. That combined with existing county debt and $30 million cost of the jail would max out the county's ability to borrow any money. And then if you had a hurricane come up, we wouldn't have any money to borrow. We would be at the top of our borrowing power. In addition, there's uncertainties about this jail. for the simple reason, the way the courts are running now, people are letting go, we're not retaining prisoners and the liabilities issues as well. We are the garden spot of the Garden State. And I don't know if that's the kind of crop we want to raise here in Salem County. Thank you.
Let me talk about this from the position that I'm familiar with, and that is that the cost of the jail expansion could range from as little as $9 million to as high as $28 million, depending on the size of the project and how far we go into it. We have looked at the numbers, and we will continue to look at the numbers, and let me just say that it is a firm belief of mine that, as has been done in the past, where what I have referred to as the decade of debt, money was borrowed for the long term for things that only lasted for a short period of time, and we stopped that. As a matter of fact, we reduced the debt $12 million since we've taken control. With that said, if you look at the total cost of the jail and you figure a contractual arrangement with some of the surrounding counties, you service the debt within 10 years, so the jail would be completely paid for within 10 years. And the other side of that is the benefit that we have of that borrowing is the fact that we have increased the bond rating, and so we've lowered the borrowing costs. So let me just say, from a structural standpoint, the revenue source is there. We have to explore it, we have to fully analyze it and understand it, do a cost-benefit analysis, as Dale said, and we're going to do all those things before we proceed. On the other side of that, you hear a lot about bail reform. And of course, bail reform is a concern that we have, and that could be one of the negative things. But we have to fully understand bail reform. And no one, I don't think, at this point understands it. So let me just say, as far as the jail is concerned, it's a revenue source that we can't ignore, and we just have to apply all the proper business analytics to it to make sure that it will be beneficial to all the residents of Salem County.
Well, this is certainly something that is in its infancy as it relates to a possible change in the jail facility as we know it today. I think it would require a task force to be assembled, stakeholders in the community, the sheriff's office, the prosecutor's office, family services, school districts, to weigh in to determine what those pros and cons are really going to be. A couple that come to mind to me rather quickly is what services, ancillary services, will we need to provide as a community to support the families that will possibly come to be with these inmates, to be close by their inmates. We want to make sure that services are available to them as far as the quality of education, perhaps, other family services, so we have to be cognizant of that. I think that could be a con. You know, there's going to be a significant cost associated with that, but I think we have to look at that and weigh that out. Nobody can deny the pro of the revenue. You know, we can all be blindsided by the dollar signs that come along with this. But we have to weigh that out very cautiously, very systemically, to see how things play out for the long term. I couldn't agree more that if this could not be paid for at half the time of the contract, it's a 20-year contract, that the debt be covered in 10 years. This is not something that we want to take right up until the note is due. We talked about additional economic development that may come along with this, with regard to you know, restaurants perhaps, and attorneys and things along those lines. But it's certainly going to be a study that's going to take a tremendous amount of time. We're going to have to walk very slowly, step by step, piece by piece. We can't jump at this. It has to be done over time and very methodical.
Obviously, the pros here is the revenue. Certainly, Salem County could use this revenue. However, my position on this is the fact that this revenue, which would be the net increase that we would get, you know, after operating income and after bills are paid and everything balances out, there's a net increased revenue coming to Salem County. I could only support this if that significant, the key word here is significant, amount of revenue goes back into our school systems, goes back into Salem Community College, goes back into VOTEC, goes back into Special Services School District. I just can't I can't grasp the fact that we're doing a reactive type of a business, or encouraging a reactive type of a business where we have problems with our children and providing proper education. We have children who want to go to VOTEC and they can't go to VOTEC because it's crowded. And we need to expand the VOTEC. So we need this revenue to be able to provide that type of a change in our county. Also, there's some uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty about how you're going to sustain this project with the system as it is with regards to creating county jobs, where folks are going to retire from those county jobs in the future. They're going to need pensions. So you would have to have sustainable contracts, future contracts, long-term contracts for this to happen and sustain itself. Thank you.
What is your specific plan to attract new employers to Salem County?
Salem County businesses, what do we think of when we say Salem County businesses? Salem County Chamber of Commerce. I think that we really, really need to reestablish the relationship that the county once had with the Chamber of Commerce. Their best of dinner last week had over 400 people there. That's a lot of people. 90% of those in attendance were affiliated with businesses in Salem County. The Chamber is the single point of entry for all businesses. How active has our Salem County government been with the Chamber of Commerce? I think we could be better. We need to forge a strong relationship with the Chamber, because businesses attract other businesses. Businesses hire our people.
Thank you. 3 years ago, Salem County had a very successful plan to attract businesses to Salem County. We had the Discover the Possibilities program. We had the Gateway Business Park Moving Forward, J.B. Berkowitz, Goya Foods. Our tourism program was recognized as a program to be second in the state. We need to establish a working, proactive economic development group that can market Salem County. Right now, there is no leadership in the county for economic development. Economic development was taken from the approved authority and given to no one. In business, we want to discuss moving here and expanding. There's no one to talk at the county with experience or the knowledge to help them. There's a viable infrastructure in Salem County that can benefit businesses that are not being marketed. There are tax incentives, grants, and other programs available to attract business to Salem County that are not being marketed. There's a void of leadership when it comes to economic development county, and that needs to be changed. Thank you.
Well, let me just say that we started out a few years ago to create a different environment. And we formed an organization called the Salem County Economic Development Council. And it took a little while to get legs, but the number one goal was to first establish an inventory of all the assets in Salem County. Once we determined what those assets were, we're going to create a database, and we're going to launch out a marketing campaign to talk to developers to develop those areas in order to attract businesses so that would in turn create employers. Now, we have looked at several different areas, and some of you, or most of you, are familiar with Oldham Township. You have the Gateway Park, and I know that Freeholder Director Acton has been passing around the Open to the Public newsletter. If you just look on the front page, you can see the number of businesses that have either expanded or have announced that they're going to locate here. There are, from my understanding, there are 3 other companies that are looking at a location in Salem County, and so we have been proactive, and we will continue to be proactive in attracting these businesses. So let me get back to the creation of the website, the creation of the Salem County Economic Development Council. The whole idea of that was to use that arm and couple it with the South Jersey Economic Development District to be able to provide resources for companies that would be interested in locating here. And so we have been proactive in this. We continue to look at other areas of expanding the economic development outreach. And we have seen some successes, and we believe that we'll continue to see some great successes as we move forward.
You look back at Salem County 3 years ago, and you look at what would be called the prospectus for the county, like you would when you were looking at a stock. The bond rating is poor. The debt is at its maximum. If I understand correctly, the Salem County Improvement Authority, their debt may be at the maximum. I'm not sure if I understood that correctly. Why would you invest here? If the outlook for Pepsi or McDonald's was as grim as it was for Salem County, would you invest in them? I wouldn't. So what's happened here in Salem County is the debt's been reduced, the bond rating has been improved, the tax rate has been stabilized. It is time to invest. This is what the residents of Salem County expect, deserve, and this administration delivered. It's now time to seize the opportunity to put together all the marketing materials, reach out to every corner, every business organization, the chamber, local associations, the Economic Development Council, the Business Action Center, the One Stop Center. Every agency that we can possibly connect with, we will connect with. We will market Salem County as the most business-friendly county in the state of New Jersey. And like Mr. McDade said, our planning boards will be business-friendly. Our mayors will be business-friendly. Our township committees and our councils will be business-friendly. The county will be business-friendly. People will want to come here. Business will grow. We will all prosper. We will all be better for it. I am making it my personal mission as your freeholder to make Salem County the most business-friendly county in the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
Since 2007, we've lost in Salem County over 1,400 jobs, and they have not returned yet. So this is more than just a situation that we can handle as we've been handling it. I think it's time to raise the bar. I think this is an emergency type of a situation, very urgent situation that we have here in Salem County. And my idea would be this. I think we need to reestablish an economic development team that will be totally focused on bringing in businesses, new businesses, private sector businesses with the type of jobs that pay and you can raise your family on. More specifically, I would hire or create a new position, a part-time position in Salem County to head up this economic development team. We need someone that can totally focus on this situation. It can't be, you know, the freeholder board and different ones in and out and have kids. We need a total focus on this situation, and I would make a position that would be totally focused on creating jobs. Someone who is a professional that can create jobs go after jobs, visit different businesses, and bring them to Salem County. Offer incentives, whatever we need to do. Because I'm telling you, I've been knocking on doors, and one of the #1 issues here in Salem County is the lack of jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully it's a lot easier to go last than it was first. It was a little nerve-wracking. Plan to bring jobs. We're in the midst of it right now. Since we've taken over majority, as I said, the first year we were kind of forced to raise taxes slightly. The second year we stabilized them, and the third year we've reduced them. We took $1 million off the tax levy, which is the amount that is raised by tax dollars. So we're in the middle of what we feel is creating an environment that's going to invite businesses to come into Salem County. They're going to start their business in Salem County, they're going to employ our residents. But as I spoke of, and you heard from Mr. Ransom, in 2007, all the lost jobs, that Economic Development Committee was under the Improvement Authority, all the way up until 2014 when we got majority of the Improvement Board. One of the first things that we did, they knew that we differed on how we viewed economic development and where we wanted that to be. What have you seen in economic development since 2007? For the $70,000 salary that went with that position, the approximate $15,000 in fringe benefits that went with that position, and the incidentals account that apparently went with that position last year, rumored to be in upwards of $130,000. What did you see from your tax dollars being put to work like that? We created a part-time position. We hired Kathleen Mills, who was our Cultural and Heritage Director, and now we're adding economic development. She's familiar with agribusiness. She's going to beat the bushes. She worked with the Philadelphia Flower Show for 10 years. She has what it takes for economic development. In addition to that, we're going to work with the Chamber. We're going to work with our respective municipalities to cut costs and, again, to make it, as Mr. Painter said, to make it a friendly environment for our businesses, working together with our Salem County Economic Development Committee.
Okay, question 3, we'll start with Mr. Bobbitt. The term fiscal responsibility has been used by many elected officials. What does fiscal responsibility mean to you, and how will that benefit the residents of Salem County?
To me, fiscal responsibility means providing services necessary to the general public in the most economical way, reducing waste and redundancy, and operating efficiently as possible. The current administration has gone on and on about this decade of debt. Matter of fact, every bond ordinance we passed in the last 10 years has passed unanimously. The Republican Freeholders voted in favor of all of it. In 2003, after 18 years of Republican majority government, they had allowed the infrastructure of the county to deteriorate to the point that it became a public safety issue. The almshouse was falling down, roads and bridges were in bad shape, just like New Bridge had to close that because of safety issues, grave liabilities. We can't continue to operate like that. What happens is when you let everything go for 18 years, and then we come into now minority freeholders come into power, then all this old decade of debt, all that kind of business, but they're just as responsible as the rest of us. They voted for all of it, and we will continue to try to build Salem County infrastructure. Thank you.
Let me just say, for the last 3 years now that we've had to say, we've reduced the debt by $12 million. And we seem to lose sight of that. Now, fiscal responsibility, let me put it in simple terms for you. We all earn a wage. We don't go out and spend recklessly and then go to our employer on Monday morning and say, hey, I blew all my money, can you give me some more? Which is what government seems to do. Government seems to say, we'll just keep spending your money. You know, and that's where I differ with my colleague to my right. Let me just say this, the fiscal responsibility encompasses a lot of things. Now, in addition to that, there's another thing that we have to look at, and that's called fiduciary responsibility. And as a freeholder, as an elected official, we have a fiduciary responsibility to you, the taxpayer. And that means we should spend your tax dollars wisely. And so fiscal responsibility is simply that, spending your tax dollars wisely. And that's what we have done. Thank you.
Well, it's always hard to follow Mr. Vanderslice.
He's fired up.
But his passion certainly demonstrates the importance of fiscal responsibility. It means spending the financial resources as though they were our own. It means taking seriously the burden of responsibility that comes with sitting on a taxing authority. I've done it for 10 years. I can tell you, as a Board of Education member in Woodstown, I have lost sleep over voting for a tax increase. It has made me feel ill, because I take that responsibility extremely, extremely seriously. I look at raising taxes as a path of last resort as opposed to the path of least resistance. I think every stone must be overturned. Every stone must be looked under to find every nickel, every dime, every dollar, every thousand, 10,000, 100,000, every million. You deserve it as the taxpayer. That is fiscal responsibility. Making sure that we have looked at every corner of the budget, every line. Can anything be found to streamline the cost of government so that we can spend your tax dollars, our tax dollars, wisely? It is an awesome responsibility to sit on a taxing authority. If in fact you don't take it seriously, you should not be putting your name on a ballot as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility basically is budget management and self-accountability, public accountability. So you have a budget. If you have your own home budget, obviously you're going to be responsible with that. Same thing with government budget, whatever, is self-accountability, integrity, and public accountability. As a member of the Board of Education with VOTEC, I learned how very difficult it was to control the budget. The BA there does a great job balancing the budget every year. So I have that skill set. As a manager at Mexican Corporation, our yearly budget is $40 million. I'm held accountable by my boss and by others above him to hold the line on certain spending and to make folks profitable, our investors. Okay, so I have that skill set. As a manager there, we were trained in lean management. So I've been trained, professionally trained. I have a green belt in lean management and Six Sigma. So being able to analyze the budget is not a problem for me. To be able to figure out ways to be efficient is not a problem for me. So going forward, as far as fiscal responsibility, I have the skill sets. I can get the job done and also create jobs, which is my #1 priority in Salem County. Thank you.
Fiscal responsibility. For this administration, the current administration, first of all, it starts with Hiring the right people and putting the right people in positions and empowering those folks. We've done that. Through that, we've streamlined government, we've increased revenues, we've cut debt, and we've cut spending. Just like you would run your house. With that, now more than ever, with the economy that we're in, and the financial situation that we're in, and we're beginning to think that we're beginning that uptick, but now more than ever, we got to keep a sharp pencil. Another reason why you heard Freeholder Vanderslice, he gets excited about that. That's the reason why we need him on that board, and you should want him on that board. A good example, we just recently outsourced IT. A difficult decision. But when you look at the numbers and the savings that we can provide, with the current vendor that we have, just through the proposal to get the equipment and all the infrastructure changes with our IT department, we saved in excess of $1 million from the previous proposal. With that, difficult decisions have to be made. At one of our recent Freeholder meetings, Freeholder Bob says that he understands and he's all for saving money. But that came with layoffs, and he couldn't vote for that. Well, with this position, difficult decisions have to be made. We're willing to make them. We take full-time positions, we look to see if we can make them a part-time position with no benefits, saving you the taxpayer. Consolidating departments when persons retire, asking folks to wear an additional hat. When grants go away, the position goes away. Simple as that. Not only we're fiscal responsible, but you heard some of the things about our infrastructure. We're taking care of our infrastructure for the first time in a long time. New roofs on the buildings. Repaired water tower out at the VOTEC. We're putting money back into the county assets. Last part of that fiscal responsibility, very shortly we're going to be sitting down with the community college. You've all read about the agreement that's taking place with Gloucester County and Rowan University. That deserves a discussion now, if we can provide affordable education for our folks and potential for a 4-year degree.
Fiscal responsibility. We have 6 people up here, and I think we all know what that means. For those of you that don't know, I am in the social service field. For those of you that don't know, I was in that field as a county employee. Let me tell you, government is there to provide a safety net for those who are less fortunate, for the elderly, for the disabled, for the homeless, for those with mental illness, for those with substance abuse problems. It is our duty and obligation as a society to be a voice for the voiceless. That's my opinion. When I was a county department head, I leveraged state and federal grant monies on a 4-to-1 basis. For every county dollar we spent on direct programming, 4 of that was state and federal grant money dollars. That was how I've already been fiscally responsible with your county tax dollars.
Start with Mr. Vanderslice. While campaigning, what have the residents of Salem County told you is their #1 concern, and how would you address it?
Well, actually, there were 2 questions there. One is, what have the citizens of Salem County been telling you? Stop there, right there, because what they've been telling us, as we've gone through every single municipality in Salem County, is keep doing what you're doing. We like what you've done so far. The second thing, though, the problem that everyone points to is taxes. And I will tell you that when I first became elected as a freeholder, the thing that I said to my colleagues sitting around the table out at the Mannington Grange was that we needed to find other sources of revenue aside from taxing or raising taxes on our citizens. And so at that time, we weren't aware of the fact that our sheriff was negotiating a contract for inmates from Gloucester County, but certainly that provided a great source of revenue. There are other ways that you can reduce costs, and ultimately, you know, when let me back up for a second, because ultimately what happened when we took over the control of the Freeholder Board, there was a $13 million deficit. And about the time that we got it balanced, someone said, oh gee, I forgot $2.4 million. And when you have professionals that are that incompetent, what you need to do is find somebody who knows what they're doing. And as Dale alluded to, we have people there who now know what they're doing and can provide valuable information. And so with that, taxes is what we're hearing. We have done everything that we possibly can do. Now I will tell you, the first year, we raised taxes $1.2 million because we had to. The second year, we held the line on the tax levy. And this year, we lowered the tax levy $1 million. This is a trend that I will tell you that we intend to continue to lower the tax levy on all the citizens of Salem County. Thank you.
Taxes. I think you're going to see the common theme here. It's taxes. How can we address it? Shared service. We have to explore every shared service opportunity from our surrounding counties, perhaps from our state next door. How might we reach out to them with shared service? We don't need to do this alone. Pennsville doesn't have to go it alone. Pittsburgh doesn't have to go it alone. I think the county can serve as the mechanism to bring each municipality together, every municipality to the table, develop a task force unique to Salem County that focuses on shared services. Let's pull all our resources together, work on a combined effort to address the issues, and see what we can't do to save some money and saving the taxes. We've talked about education quite a bit tonight. I think one of the biggest challenges that we're faced with from an economic development standpoint is a workforce. A workforce that's attractive to bigger businesses to, again, make that capital investment here in Salem County. I think it's a great opportunity to partner with those potential businesses as corporate supporters of Salem Community College and Salem County Vocational Technical High School. They can chart the course on what they're looking for from the students, from the graduates. They can financially support the curriculum that's unique to their specific needs, so we can tailor the students' educational program to meet those unique needs of those businesses. I think that business would be very willing to step up and make that investment, helping attraction as well as retention of their employees, and then in turn reducing the tax burden to each one of us. Thank you.
What I've heard in Salem County as we've been knocking on doors, the number one problem is again, jobs. And when you look at that segment there, or that issue, jobs, and the creation of employers in Salem County, it translates right over into taxes. Because if you're going to bring in ratables, and bring in jobs, you're going to reduce taxes. But there's one other component, and that's crime. So if we increase jobs and have people working and taxes come down, then we also be able to reduce our crime in Salem County. It all ties in together. So I'm back on to, how do we create jobs in Salem County, reestablish a focused redevelopment team, and by doing that, I also specifically, again, reemphasize the need for a focused professional person to be hired to be able to get the job done. We have an urgent situation, and we need to focus on jobs which will lower taxes and will reduce crime. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to tell you anything you haven't already heard. Taxes is the single biggest point on everybody's mind. Everybody in this room is a taxpayer. We're all taxpayers as well. I tell people all the time, and you know, what comes along with the territory with this position, and any elected position, is the grief that sometimes comes along with it. It might be the coffee bar in Wawa, wherever it may be. But the reality of it is, I tell them the same thing. The same folks that hired your taxes, they raised mine. You know, we're all in this together. So taxes is the number one thing that we're hearing out there. And the additional thing is they want to see jobs. They want to see business come to Salem County. They want to see Salem County like it was. Now, with Chamber Works, when it was bustling, are we going to get back to those days? If we do, it's going to be extremely difficult, and I hope we're around to see it. But we're making strides. I know that our current township committee is talking with DuPont. I know that we're talking with DuPont. There's about 7 acres that are getting ready to clear there. We're hoping that we can develop there. We're seeing bright spots with our park up at exit 7 in Oldman's Township. 1,000 square foot facility just opened, 5 Below, 175 jobs. In the next couple of years, maybe another 100. Mushroom developer is going to open up half of his 150,000 square foot plot. We've had an expansion at Siegfried USA, McLean Trucking, Berkowitz Glass. With those things will hopefully come, the budget flexibility that we talked about earlier, and allow us to continue lowering your taxes and stabilizing your tax base.
Taxes. I have family who live in Lower Alloways Creek. Their taxes went up this year 14%. So to claim that all Salem County taxes went down is wrong. This is where we really, really need to thoroughly investigate gambling taxpayers' money, taxpayers' hard-earned dollars, for a new jail, before we fully shore up Salem County finances so our seniors can stay in their homes and our homeowners ensure their long-term investments.
Yeah, the biggest thing I hear door knocking is crime in Salem County. People in Salem County deserve a safe place to live, where they go outside and enjoy the evenings. We are talking about a $30 million expansion of the jail. I think some of that money we should be talking about increasing our spending for the local law enforcement to prevent crime. If we spend money to prevent crime, then we wouldn't need any bigger jails, it would be smaller jails. So I think that would be a good idea. And I think we need to work with all the law enforcement agencies, the prosecutor's office, sheriff's department, all the local police departments, and all working together for the benefit of Salem County. I think we need to get a task force together to address these things, and we need to coordinate effort in the law enforcement community and address these issues. Thank you.
We'll start the closing remarks. You have 2 minutes.
Well, again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out as tonight draws to a close. I'm sure everybody's anxious to get home. I just want to recap on my community service experience. Very active in the Woodstown-Piles Grove Business Association, very active in the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club of Woodstown, as I mentioned, Salem County Ag Development Board, and liaison to ag education. I share a few of those things with you because I think they all tie to what we've all talked about here tonight. They're just a list of 5 things that I'm active in that I think are very important to tap into when it comes to improving the quality of life for all the residents here in Salem County. We've talked about approaching the Chamber of Commerce. I'm in the Chamber of Commerce. We've talked about working with the business community. I'm in the local Woodstown-Piles Grove Business Association. I know what it takes to give back to the community. I've done it since I moved here. My private sector experience. I know what it's like to create jobs. I know how hard it is to make sure the payroll's there. I know how hard it is to make sure that the health insurance premiums are paid for employees. It's a very difficult thing to provide jobs. It's a very difficult thing to let people go. I've grown my business in the downturn of this most recent economy. I've increased wages. I've added staff. I've grown my business. That comes with careful financial planning, fiscal responsibility. My public sector experience includes chairing negotiations. It includes budget development for a $24 million budget. I've always been told by my dad to do the right thing. I use that as a guiding principle. It's not always a popular thing, but it's the right thing. I would take that to the Freeholder Board and commit myself 110% to doing what I think is right for the 66,000 people that we're to represent. Thank you, and I hope to get your support on November 4th.
My final statements are this. There's a scripture for those of you who are churchgoers, and it even holds up for those that are not. Too much is given, much is required. And as a resident of Salem County, I've tried to get back to the community. I'm on a board of education at the VOTEC and Special Services School District. I'm on a hospital board at Salem County. I'm on the planning board at Old Mills Township. I'm on the Calvary Community Development Board, which is a nonprofit. I'm on a branch organization from that, which is the ROPE organization, which is Reaching Out Plain English, which is a mentoring program for youth. And we are organized in the middle school in Pennsgrove, and we're also organized in Carlton School, which is the elementary school in Pennsgrove. So we're trying to have an impact on youth before they grow up and start making mistakes in their life. I'm the vice president of the trustee board, Second Baptist Church. So I try to get back to the community. Folks, I just want to say this, I thank you all for having us here. I thank the group that organized this. We're in a situation where we need all hands on deck. We need everybody working together. I think I represent here. We're trying to bring together a diversified board and be able to get everybody involved to work together to solve the problems of Salem County. And I think that if I'm chosen as to be on the Freeholder board, that we can get the job done. Thank you.
Mr. Cross.
First of all, I want to thank Diane and your organization. Diane, to everybody in this room that had a part in putting this together tonight, you should be applauded. In a very short period of time, you've done some great things, and you're making a difference. So please continue doing that. I think our party has put together a solid ticket. I truly do. With Doug, you heard about his public and private sector experience. And more than that, I think a lot of people in this room were raised like I was by this young man sitting in the front row here. And that is, you vote for the right person for the job. Doug is one of those proverbial good guys. He truly is. He will bring an even temperament to the board. Bob, painfully obvious why you need him to continue serving on this board. I'm humbled by the responsibility you've bestowed upon me in the last 6 years. And I hope that you'll allow us to continue that. All 6 of us, I want to commend all the candidates who are up here tonight. As I spoke to the township candidates before, there are other things you could be doing. You could be spending time with your families, or doing a host of other things. So you'll be applauded for putting yourself out there, because it's not easy. But again, I've been humbled by the experience. I learn each and every day, and I hope that I take those learnings with me as we continue future decisions. But I hope you'll allow us to continue our good works and to continue the good trend that we're on by considering our ticket on November 4th.
I would like to thank Pennsville Town Watch for hosting us tonight. I'm not going to stand here and list all the boards that I serve on, that I have served on, that I do serve on, all my volunteer work. I am just going to reiterate that the reason that I am running is to give a voice to the elderly and the disabled and all those social services entities that I serve. When I worked for the county, Freeholder director used to introduce me at our events as the angel of the county. I took that very well, because you know what? Our office and our people that did the right things for the people of this county, we're all watching out for each other. I choose not to just be your next freeholder. I choose to be your next public servant. If elected, I will serve you all to the best of my ability. Thanks.
Yeah, my family's been in business here in Salem County for 58 years, auto repair. I've been in business myself for 35 years, auto repair and towing in Woodstown. We have 8 workers at my shop. Well, excuse me, 7 workers and me. But we know what it takes to run a small business. Just like Doug said, the bills, this and that, and what it takes to run a small business. All I say is this: I've been a freeholder for 12 years. I appreciate your support in the past. I think we have an ethical and diverse ticket this year. I appreciate your support in the past and look forward to your support this year. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you.
I can think of a lot of wisecracks I can make right now, but I'm not going to make any of them. I just want to thank the Town Watch for hosting this event. Thank you, Wayne, for being the MC. And I especially want to thank Chief Cummings for being my personal bodyguard tonight. Thank you very much. There's a story that some of you have probably heard me tell, and that's this. One night, a grandfather was tucking his grandson into bed, and the grandson says, "Pop, Pop, is it true that all fairy tales begin with once upon a time?" And the grandfather said, "No, some begin with if I'm elected." Well, I can tell you this, that 3 years ago when we asked for your vote and we got your vote and we got your support, we rolled up our sleeves, we went to work. And we went to work, and we went to work because Freeholder Director Julie Atkins says, we'll work Saturdays, we'll work whenever we have to work, and we got the job done, and you've seen the results. I just want to say this, that as you look at the 4 Republicans on the board, Ben Lowry's an engineer, and he certainly does a phenomenal job. Dale Cross is the most deliberate and intentional note taker that you can ever imagine. He has a brilliant mind, and he deserves to be reelected. Julie Acton is the Energizer Bunny. You've all heard that. She just never quits. And if you don't believe that, you should follow me around sometime and listen to my cell phone and see all the text messages and stuff that I get. And Doug certainly will add to that team. So let me just say this to you in closing. I know that these few minutes don't necessarily do justice. So if you can remember this, my cell phone number is 275-7728. 856-275-7728. If you have any questions, call me. If you can't get me on my cell phone, call 678-6006 and leave a message at the bank. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.